I think, when you get into business, you got to be smart. Smart is an IQ, just savvy, hungry, and have a little humility, and you can have a pretty good career. We go back in the cattle business. My grandparents came from Germany and settled in Cumming County, Nebraska. And they started feeding cattle and hogs as all immigrants did. And then they had a family, and my father gravitated more to the cattle side of it.
That's when the family moved to Omaha to be close to the markets.
We all grew up around the feedlot when we were little, obviously coming from a good German family. The work ethics got pushed on us pretty hard. And then we got the passion for it. We all loved it. One of the great things that my father did us a great favor, is buying the company, not giving the company. So we had to assume a lot of responsibility. He didn't sign on any credit for us or anything. We had to build our own credit. And I think if you ask our wives, that was a bone of contention. I think we went about close to 10 years, 7 days a week, without ever taking a day off, every one of us. And as we, went through, we just drew a salary.
4 brothers were equal partners from day one. No titles, no bonuses, just a simple business plan built on hard work.
I can remember the day, and my brothers can too, they were quite a little bit younger, that everything was fed with a scoop shovel and a team of horses. Mechanization, really relieved a lot of back labor, and then as technology came, how many cattle he could feed compared to then, doesn't, at that time, would have never ever seemed possible.
Cattle genetics improved, from longevity and reproductive efficiency to the way they hung on the rail. Marketing changed in step.
That was one of the reasons my father wanted to move closer to the central market, so he knew what was happening there. If they had a short run, he could get cattle there in a matter of an hour, hour and a half, because they were all pre-sorted. Then as time went by, him and another gentleman were the first ones to start selling cattle direct, rather than going through a commission company at the yards, direct to the packer. That worked very well for a lot of people. And we sold cattle and the beef, we sold them live. Now we've got grid systems and different programs.
Gerald and his brothers were ahead of their time in considering all segments in the beef community.
And I'm a consumer advocate because I believe that you got to produce what the consumer wants, not what you think he ought to have.
It's why he watched the certified Angus beef brand with great interest.
I remember in the late 70s when they came on board and then really got going in the 80s. They took the whole cattle industry, not just the black Angus, and proved to the industry that consistency and quality will sell, and that's what the people were craving for. We're in the commodity meat business. I think the restaurant business, they were never assured that same consistency. They got the grade, but not the consistency. And CAB is one that revolutionized that, and everybody followed, and that's where we're at today.
Several decades ago, the family added cow-calf operations, giving them a rancher's perspective.
You value what they do, and you know what they go through, and I think that, that they're very focused on trying to do the best they can do, because they are dedicated people.
As they grew from one feed yard to several, from just feeding to other cattle ventures, they did it all together.
I think I think that's what it's all about, and longtime employees. And I think without good employees, you're not going nowhere. I think our wives, I I think all of us would have to say that if it wasn't for our wives, we would have never, I would say, not made it, but they were so supportive.
Leadership takes on different forms. For Gerald, that meant doing what he saw as right, no matter what others thought. And sometimes it meant following the lead of those before him.
We've been in what I call a lot of storms, from the dairy buyout to, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's just part of the business. You take it in stride. We were so fortunate that we had a lot of good mentors that went through, a lot of things that we were going to go through. And luckily we listened. I always felt, and my brothers too, and if you got the opportunity, always be around people that are smarter than you are and have done more, and you will learn something.